All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Hate Army Watch. DSP's not having a midlife crisis, won't pass on his genes, and has 80,000 videos. This is from March 27th of 2022.
My 40th birthday is coming up. All right? Within a week and a half. For a lot of people, this whole idea of over the hill 40 is actually a bad thing, because they're like, oh, it's like a midlife crisis. You're in the middle of your life and you reassess everything around you and what you're doing with your life.
And he, of all people, should actually do that. The thing is, though, if he actually, got out and talked to people, he would know this. There are plenty of people at 40 who start over. People who get remarried, people who go back to school, people who switch careers, people who actually go after a dream job or career. There is no finish line for him, if you will. There is no greater purpose for him. There is no plan. He's just someone who latches himself on to whatever or whoever will allow him to do so. He's a parasite, basically. He's definitely cancer, but he's certainly a parasite. He latches himself on to whatever person or whatever thing he can, and he siphons it for everything that it's worth, and then he moves on. If he can move on.
This is the time of my life that now I need to show that I'm still energetic and young, maybe at heart, even if I'm not young in person. A lot of people completely change their physical appearance and their style, right? It's like, why do you have a middle-aged dad, right, who's all of a sudden walking around with sunglasses on and, he's wearing stylish clothing, driving a sports car around? It's like, what are you doing? You have a family at home. Like, shouldn't be your focus, right?
So who is he to criticize anybody about style when he has none? 40 years old, running around wearing piss-stained jammies?
The funny part about all that is, literally none of that applies to me. Over the course of my life, many times people ask me, Phil, what do you want to do with your life?
So you're telling me that people who have jobs or careers, who have a wife and kids, they're in a bad position compared to you? While you get to sit at home yet again in your piss-stained jammies and beg for money online? This is your job. This is your career. This is your hobby. This is what, you love this thing so much, as this is what gets you up in the morning, right? And he can't even shave for work. He looks like a bum. He looks like someone picked him up off the streets. You could literally do this with any other homeless individual, and I don't think you would honestly be able to tell the difference. This right here is supposed to be a better life than other people who actually have careers, who have actually done shit with their life, who was able to share that with someone who actually gave a fuck about them and they give a fuck about, who have been blessed enough to have kids and be able to share those experiences with their children. How is it that he has it better than those people, allegedly?
I feel like a lot of people live their life that way. Like, oh, I had a plan that by the age of 40, I was going to have this kind of life, this kind of house, this kind of money, this kind of this and that. And then you look at it, oh, I didn't hit it, so I'm a failure. And now, oh, man, I got to reassess my life and stuff like that. And I've never been that kind of person, okay? I just go with the flow of whatever's going on currently in my life.
Extra doubt on that. So when you ran out of the FGC, you said you had to reevaluate what you were doing. When you were getting punished by Machinima, you had to reevaluate what you were doing. When you were getting slapped the fuck up by Twitch, you had to reevaluate what you were doing. When Leanna Panda left his bitch ass, he had to reevaluate what he was doing. When he established his relationship with Catherine, he had to reevaluate what he was doing. He had to make adjustments. When he promised his mother that he was going to do this 10-year plan to get his shit together, he had to make adjustments to his life. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yes, I do try to plan for things to get better or whatever. I'm not stupid. I don't sit around here and be like, well, everything will just work out in the end if I don't try. That's completely the opposite mentality in life.
Well, that's bullshit too, because he's come out and said, oh, well, we could do this, and we'd be able to do this, and we'd be able to do this, but I need you guys to give me this money. And hopefully, I'll get the extra money that I need, and I can do those things. But I need you guys to continue to contribute. I need you guys to continue to support me. Because if not, I can't do anything more than what I'm already doing, guys. I'm already working myself. He said this at one time. I'm already working myself to the bone. So his plan was convincing these idiots to give him more money, to maintain what he already had, and hopefully they give him even more money so he can get the extras that he never really planned on doing, unless someone actually bought it for him. Right? That Xbox, he didn't plan to buy that. He wanted one, But he didn't plan to buy one. Someone else had to buy it. What about that new laptop? He didn't plan to buy that. He planned to get someone else to buy it for him. What about the new PC that he keeps harping on about? He's not planning to buy that. He's planning for someone else to buy that.
People, what it really is, it's a cliche. It's a kind of a running thing in American culture where, oh, you hit 40 years old and, oh, you're middle of your life crisis, right? For me, it's the opposite. Right now in my life, I feel more secure. I feel more happy. I feel more fulfilled with what my life is today than any previous time in my life.
I want you to look at his surround. I want you to look at him, and then I want you to look what's around him. And I want you to think about every other streamer that you've ever watched who has, you know, a backdrop that's available to them, right? That isn't a green screen, I should say. And think about what they have and how they express themselves, right? And then look at what DSP has. He's lived in that house since 2014, never thought about painting it. That room, never thought about repainting it. We have a couple of containers, I guess I should say, with what looks like a towel thrown over it. We have an empty box with another box on top of it. He has another set of empty boxes off to the side. He has some soundproofing that's really not worth a damn, and that's it. The man literally has nothing. And he has these empty boxes behind him as a flex. Like, oh, look at what I have, right? But because the way it's presented, right, is thrown together, it's lazy, it screams desperation, like, please notice me. It's a reflection of him. The way you do anything is the way you do everything, more often than not.
I think it's quite the opposite. I think that everything that I did previously in my life led to what I get to live now every day. And that's a good thing, because it was through those high highs, those low lows, those big achievements, but also those major failures and mistakes that I've come to be the person that I am today. And I can go to sleep every night, sleep easy, knowing that I feel I am the best version of me in my life as of now. Maybe not physically, because I'm getting older, but at least mentally and morally, I feel like I'm the best person I've been in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me. Sorry. So, DSP thinks that at 40, he's the best version of himself. Morally and mentally. Holy shit. This is someone who knowingly takes disability money from his audience. He knows that there are people in his audience that have gone through bankruptcy, multiple bankruptcies, are trying to save up for cars, or trying to put money away for school, whatever the case may be, right? And he takes their money willingly too. Well, he demands it, I should say. He demands that money and then he takes it. This is the same person who sits here and celebrates his birthday for a week, forgets his wedding anniversary, and then when Mother's Day is coming around saying that, oh, well, I might call her on Mother's Day. We'll see. This is the same person who says, I am happy where I'm at in life, I am successful, but yet he holds grudges against everybody else who's way more successful than he is. These are some of these people he's never even interacted with. He's never even talked to any of these people. And yet, he holds such a grudge against them that he calls them sellouts, he calls them liars, he says that you shouldn't support them or their content because they're never going to be honest with you. It's all about the almighty dollar. Yet, you go to their streams, and you don't see this shit. You don't see a membership goal, a last super chat, a top tip, and then a tip goal. You don't see that under them. He's the same person who has called detractors, trolls, haters, and critics liars for saying that he has lied about certain stuff, only for him to come back later and say, yeah, I did lie to you, but I did it to protect my family. This is the same individual who spent years shitting on people for doing reactionary content that he eventually is doing himself. This is the same person who says, I don't have any sponsorships, I don't have a contract, so I rely on crowdfunding. I need you guys to step up. Yet when these people who he wants to step up so he can live the life that he wants to live, when they ask him to do something, no, I can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't have time to do that. This is the same man who swears up and down that he loves Catherine dearly. Yet he is not willing to take an extra day off to spend time with her, which only mirrors his situation with Leanna. But morally, though, we're in our best space, right? We're living our best life.
I put out content that I feel is meaningful. People tell me on a daily basis what I do is meaningful. And because of that, there's this air of positivity around everything that I do here on DSP Gaming. You see? There's a lot of negative shitheads out there that they judge life based off of financial success. They judge life based off of a number of popularity. That's not what life is about at all, in my opinion. It's about actually being okay with who you are, what you do, and your life situation. And I absolutely positively am. You know, I really am. At one point in my life, I didn't...
You're okay with settling. You're okay with just the bare minimum. And you just hope that you could just keep doing it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep chugging along and just hope things will get better. Essentially is what he's saying. Which is contradicting what he had said earlier, but semantics. And that's another thing, too. Imagine you being 40 years old and you have to be online all day trying to convince people that you're not the loser that people perceive you to be. Which is essentially what DSP does all day. He spends all day fighting with people about how he's not an idiot, how he's not ignorant, how he's not stupid, how he's not literally fucked his life up in a way that he could never ever really get out of. And even with, and this is going to be dark, even with the death of his parents, the money that would come out of that wouldn't be enough to fix his issues. Because he is an addict, he has a spending addiction, he has a gambling problem, and he has a drinking problem. And he's never going to overcome any of those things. Because in his mind, that's private, or at least he thinks it's private, and it's not an issue. It's just something that people do.
And I could understand maybe someone who worked themselves into a rut, into a corner, and now they feel trapped by a life that they created, and now they don't like it anymore, and this is essentially their life, and they have to deal with that. I'm the opposite.
Now, isn't this is definitely, like I said, this proves my projection argument. Because isn't DSP the same one who's wanting to transition out of video games and wants to start going into, you know, really having a podcast, getting into reaction content and all of that? Isn't that not the same thing? He's not doing it because he wants to do it, like this is a natural evolution for him. He's doing it because it's not paying the bills anymore.
Zoya, who did a super chat and says, at what point did you decide you didn't want any kids? I don't necessarily know if it was a concrete discussion or situation where it was like sitting down and saying, all right, it's time to talk about kids today. I think it was just kind of a determination over time. You know, I'm about to be 40 years old, and personally, I don't feel that I'm in a personal or financial situation where I would want any kids in my life. I don't know if I would be a good dad. I don't know if I would want to be a good dad. I'm in a point where, like...
If you don't think you wouldn't be a good dad, I can give you that. You don't know if you would want to be a good dad? So what, is this like the Ethan Ralph thing where we're just having kids and abandoning them? Like, what does that mean exactly? I don't know if I want to be a good dad. You're barely a good person. You're not even barely, you're not. You're not a good person. I don't know, that statement doesn't hit me right. Let's go ahead and bring that one back real fast.
I don't know if I would be a good dad. I don't know if I would want to be a good dad. I'm in a point where, like, I'm a very, very busy, hardworking professional. Look at how much time I'm...
Busy, hardworking professional. If DSP and Catherine have a child, the world doesn't revolve around DSP anymore. It revolves around that child. The child would have all of Catherine's attention. The child would have all of Darkside Phil's family's attention, or Phil's parents. And in some ways, if not in a lot of ways, the chat, the DSP's community, for whatever that's worth, the cult, if you will, they would have the baby's attention. Because these are people who don't think they're going to be parents. If you talk about Phil's audience or whatever, the child becomes the center of attention, and DSP can't have that. He's not mentally stable enough for that. He's not emotionally stable. He's not someone who can put someone else before himself. He doesn't look at children as a part of yourself, right? Which is a long-term investment. And hopefully they don't inherit any of your flaws. You can deter them away from certain things that you have made mistakes on. And hopefully, I think this is something that all parents wish for, they will be more successful at anything and everything that they've done. DSP can't accept that. He can't accept the success of people that he doesn't even know. How would he be able to accept the success of his own child that he sees every day? Honestly, how would he be able to handle that? He can't. He won't. He would just, as time would go on, he would only grow to resent that child. It's really what it is. I think he looks at how he treats his own parents and how much resentment that he holds against his own parents, and he doesn't want that to be given to him.
I know for a fact there are big time streamers out there who have kids and they don't nearly make as much content as I do. They don't have to. They're more popular, so they make less content, they make more money, and then they have time to spend with their families outside of the content they make.
Do you not realize, Phil, that those people don't have to rely on ad revenue or crowdfunding? Like, they actually have sponsorships. They've actually, like, established deals and shit. They actually invest their money. You ever thought about that? The concept of, you know, your money working for you? Things like that. It just goes to show what kind of fucking disconnect this guy has. But yet he runs around here saying that he has a business degree and he understands how business works. Just because you've been around for a long time doesn't make you successful. He doesn't have a family. He just has a wife and a cat. But he'd be able to sustain a family just fine. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to have to give up his vices to essentially take care of someone else. And if he was man enough to just say that, people would respect him more for it. Not him owning up to his vices because he's a bitch. I mean, he's a worthless individual anyway, so it's not like him spawning a child is gonna help anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? The uphill battle that a Phil Burnell Jr. would have, I don't envy that. Just imagine you're on whatever, you know, video sharing site at the time, and someone pulls up a Snorpernell video, like a vintage Snorpernell video, or an old school David Davison video, or an Aqua Teal video, or someone pulls up like a Ravens Dolphins stream and shit, and people look over at that, look at that shit, look over at you, look at that shit, and be like, "Oh shit, is that your dad?" How do you deal with that? Kids can be cruel, so you know how fast something like that would spread. And then if people archive in the future the way people archive now, the jerk off video, the video with Panda talking about why don't you just give her a pill and leave her there, the bitching about Pro Jared, I can keep going on. Those videos come out, they're going to look at that child all kinds of crazy. And the ridicule is going to come in pretty fucking fast. If you're Dark Side Phil, you don't want to deal with that shit. You don't care if your kid comes home fucking crying or beaten up or whatever the case may be because of some dumb shit that you did on the internet 10 years ago, because I would assume by then he'd still be on the internet. He's not going to want to deal with that shit. He's going to be like, oh, that's not my problem. He's not going to want to handle that. He's ill-equipped to handle it for himself right now.
At this point in my life, I don't want a kid at all. All right? Now, I'm not. The thing is, things always change in life, right? Maybe at some point in my life, later in my life, that attitude would change. As of right now, I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to be a father. Zero. Zero. Really, like nothing. And some people say, well, don't you want to pass down your family line? Don't you want to do... I don't care. I don't.
That's what I was actually waiting for. Because he don't give a shit. He lives only for himself. He lives only for himself. He doesn't give a shit. And that's why he keeps hanging on to this whole, oh, I got this legacy on YouTube. Like, YouTube's going to be around for fucking ever. And if YouTube goes down, detractor content will be put somewhere else, and that will be his legacy. He'll never be able to stop that. He'll never be able to beat it. Even if he was able to upload even a fraction of his own original content, it wouldn't matter. It'd be YouTube all over again. It would get drowned out.
Guys, I got like 78,000 videos on YouTube of me sharing my life and my personality with all of you on the internet. You know, and I'm not saying you're all my kids, because that's kind of creepy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, my legacy is already out there to be shared with the world. I don't need to imbue that into a person.
Holy fuck. You equate some digital shit that could be wiped off the internet at any given fucking time to having a living, breathing person who can also one day will be able to procreate and have children of their own. You would equate 80,000 videos over that. That's fucking wild, bruh. I wasn't expecting that. I need to hear that again.
Guys, I got like 78,000 videos on YouTube of me sharing my life and my personality with all of you on the internet. You know, and I'm not saying you're all my kids, because that's kind of creepy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, my legacy is already out there to be shared with the world. I don't need to imbue that into a person. I've been so sharing of me and who I am and my thought process and my gaming skill and all of that, all the laughs, right, over the years. Why the hell do I need a person to put that into? I've been here with you guys every day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
holy shit. Dude, you might as well go ahead and be Chris Chan and just fucking put your own jizz in fucking soda and drink that shit at this point. Holy fuck, bruh. That's I don't know if I can process that. That you would equate videos to have more value than you actually having a child. And then you're low-key saying that, hey, all you guys are my kids. No wonder they're all losers. That makes sense.
I'm here to be me with you guys every day. You know, you see the real me, and you understand that, and you get that, okay? That's passing me on to the world. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, no one knows Phil Burnell outside of his personal life, so you have to have a kid who you can imbue all these morals and values and ideas into, and that kid can go on and be a productive member of society. I've been making videos for 13 fucking years. Already, there's been enough influence of Phil Burnell on this planet. All right? Now, some people are saying, what about your wife? What about her? That's her own personal decision, her own personal life.
Shit. What about my wife? What about her? Oh my god. Okay, okay, first things first. DSP falls into a very, very small niche type of audience. Just like any lolcow, really. The only lolcow you could actually say who actually has real recognition is Chris Chan. DSP's not there, and DSP more than likely won't live long enough to make it there. Shit, the way Ethan Ralph is going right now, shit, first off, they definitely need to pass the King of Hate moniker on to him, and the crown, and everything else that goes with it. DSP is just is a niche audience type thing. If YouTube goes down tomorrow, he is fucked. He is royally fucked. His legacy, I would say out of those 80,000, maybe 20,000 of those videos are salvageable on whatever fucking hard drives he has. And that's pretty much ripped to that. You're a joke. You're a joke for saying that. It feeds back into what I said about you're too selfish and you don't want to be upstaged. You're really betting all your porky chips on the fact that, you know, you're going to this legacy of yours is going to stand far after you're gone. And it won't, not at least not in the way that you think it will. No, it's just not gonna, it's not gonna work out like that. Holy shit. It's not gonna work out like that. But even more egregious than that, the fact that you went ahead and just discarded Catherine. Now keep in mind, I won't go into it completely. If you know about Catherine's past, you know. If not, if you don't know, it's because you don't care to know, and that's fine. But there are places you can look up, and there's other people you can talk to learn about it if you'd like. But that shit is dark and disturbing as fuck. So I can understand if she didn't want to have kids, but for you to essentially take that from her and say, hey, I don't want to have kids, yada, yada, yada. Oh, what about your wife? What about that bitch? Fuck her. He didn't say that, but you know what I mean. That should tell you something about him fundamentally. That should tell you what he thinks about people. If Catherine leaves, she'll leave either A, because she has better prospects, or B, because she wants to get out early enough to where she can still have a child on her own. Or, well, with someone else, but you know what I mean? Like, she'd still be able to have a child. This ass clown is never going to be husband material. He never was. And he'll never be father material. And the fact that he would just dismiss her presence in this marriage, in that type of decision, should be telling. Holy shit.
Now, some people are saying, what about your wife? What about her? That's her own personal decision, her own personal life, and I'm not here to talk about my wife. I'm sure she has her own reasons and opinions on why, you know, she doesn't want to have a kid, and that's none of your business. It's not your business to ask me about personal shit about my wife. So please don't. You have to understand there's a line you don't cross, and you want to ask me about my personal rationale and stuff on my own stream. That's one thing. This is not my wife's stream, it's mine. Don't ask about her personal opinions and things on my stream. It's none of your business. Okay? Okay.
It's none of their business, but yet they have to bankroll the lifestyle, though, right? They have to pay for the trip. They have to pay for the honeymoon. They have to pay for the upgrades. They have to pay for the groceries. They have to pay for the eating out and everything. Not like that, but they have to pay for so they could go and eat out. But don't ask about anything as it pertains to whether we want to have children or anything like that. That's crossing the line. Pay for the lifestyle, but don't worry about how the lifestyle is actually lived. Food for thought. Just just think about some of the stuff that was discussed today, and just don't think about it too hard. But Jesus Christ, take care of yourselves, guys. Later.